We talked about how we scout quarterbacks last block. Now we're going to put it into action. We're going to build the perfect quarterback with these categories: arm strength, accuracy, mobility, pocket awareness, anticipation, decision-making, and their frame. Let's start with the NFL, though, just to give you guys kind of a 40,000-foot view of what we're looking for in these. My list for the NFL would go as follows: NFL arm strength, and I chose a different guy for each one of these for specifically to kind of highlight what they're the best at. If it was, some guys would double up if I was doing it for real, but arm strength, I have Josh Allen. Accuracy, Joe Burrow. Mobility, Lamar Jackson. Pocket awareness, Jordan Love. Anticipation, Tua Tagovailoa. Decision-making, Patrick Mahomes. And then frame is the 6'6", 240-pound Justin Herbert. So that's what I see at the NFL level. Ryan, who's yours? I think we have your list of NFL superlatives. Who you got for the NFL first before we dive into the college?
So I saw your list, and I tried to vary it where I could, but you hit some home runs. So I went with Matthew Stafford to mix it up with the arm strength. Our buddy Rick Spielman said that was the pro day where he actually heard the ball more than any other pro day, and Stafford still has some juice when he throws it. Accuracy, I had to go with Joe Burrow. That feels pretty obvious. Mobility, Lamar Jackson, just like you did. Pocket awareness, not counting the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes was my guy. Anticipation, I don't know if anyone throws more anticipation as consistently as Tua, so you got that one. Yeah. Decision-making, I said Josh Allen, because you got to get Josh Allen in there, and then obviously Justin Herbert built in the lab. You nailed that one for the frame.
Okay, let's get to the draft class. Arm strength for me in this draft class, it's Cam Ward. And that's like why I'm so high on him, why I think that he has this untapped potential that I would take number one overall if I really needed a quarterback, is because that guy can touch areas of the football field that just basically you need to touch if you're going to be a Highland quarterback at the next level. That it really, really helps your game. Accuracy. Some other strong arms, though. I think Tyler Shuck from Louisville has a strong arm. Will Howard has a strong arm in this draft class. Those two guys really stand out as the next in that category to me. Accuracy. Dylan Gabriel. I could have accepted Shedeur Sanders for this one as well. I think both those guys are extremely, extremely accurate when projecting the next level. Mobility, Jalen Milroe. That is, I mean, he is so far and away the most impressive athlete at this quarterback class. Like, he's going to be a tier one runner at the next level from day one. Pocket awareness, I went with Notre Dame's Riley Leonard. Doesn't make my top 10. Some people he will make their top 10s, and it's because he is very, very good in the pocket. Anticipation, this is where Kyle McCord, the Syracuse quarterback, really shined to me. Consistently on his tape, he has thrown it before breaks. And again, if you're a pocket passer, that's how you have to survive. You're going to have to be a guy who plays with anticipation. So ticking that box for him, very big. Decision making, I went with Shedeur Sanders here. I don't think there's any guy in this class who's a really high-end decision maker, high-end processor in that regard, like we saw maybe last year. Like, I thought this was what Bo Nix really set him apart, in my opinion, was that guy would get the ball where it needed to be consistently. There's no one that really does that, in my opinion, but Shedeur is probably the closest. And then frame is the 6'4", 235-pound Will Howard, the Ohio State quarterback, very much looks the part. Where are your disagreements? Who you got in your list, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, your list is pretty spot on, Mike, and I tried to vary it where I could, and I think I doubled up on some. I wasn't as good as you about just one for one. But I went with arm strength. I went with you keep forgetting this guy. Jalen Milroe can throw the ball pretty far and pretty hard. I know. He's the Jameis Winston.
I told you, I just like put him in like a different. I could like quarterbacks, and then it's just like Jalen Milroe, because I just want Jalen Milroe to like see the football field in some way, shape, or form. I think if he plays quarterback, he's not going to be on the football field outside of like a few snaps a game until he really develops, which like year 3, year 4 is your best case scenario with him. So that's why I keep just being like, just get him on the field some other ways.
No, I get it. And I had a scout once describe linebacker Trenton Simpson this way, and I think it pertains to Jalen Milroe. He plays the game like he's looking at it through a straw, and that's not a great thing if you're a linebacker or a quarterback. I wish he'd come back. I wish he'd been in Kalen DeBoer's offense for at least another year. I don't have a time machine, so that's not happening. In terms of accuracy, I went with Cam Ward, and I know he has some errant passes, and we talked about his laissez-faire approach sometimes to getting his feet set, but he can make some throws that very few people, let alone this draft class, but on planet Earth, can make, and then he can put it on the money off platform, and that's sort of why I went in that direction. Mobility, I cheated. I went with Cam Ward again because I do think Jalen Milroe's a freakish athlete, but in terms of, and you talked about this last segment, in terms of his body awareness and how he moves in the pocket and avoids with subtle movements the pass rush. That's incredibly important and translates. Pocket awareness. I went with Shador because he's similar, just not the athlete. I had to go with my guy Kyle McCord for anticipation. I agree with you on that. Decision making. I gave Jackson Dart some love. I think he makes a lot of good decisions. He's not the type of guy that's gonna do what Joe Burrow does, for example, or Lamar Jackson in terms of making the big play to flip the field or to flip the game. But he does a lot of good things with the football. And then frame. Will Howard is your QB, your tight end, your defensive end. He checks all the boxes physically in terms of what he looks like getting off the bus.
Yeah, I think that's like the selling point of Will Howard. It's
Yeah.
just like
Now
he
the
looks
Indiana game
like
and
he
the
could be.
and the Notre Dame game changed some opinions, but overall, there's a lot of projection with Will Howard.
Yes. All right. What's the one guy? What's the one person with the one trait in this draft class that you think is the most, I guess, special year on year? You know, who's pocket awareness or whose anticipation? Who has one trait that you're like, that is really, really high level, or is there one? Because they're in this class, honestly, there may not be one, in my opinion.
So it's a slippery slope. I'll throw Kyle McCord some love with the anticipation, but the issue with anticipation is if you're not on the same page, you're going to throw some interceptions. But I think Cam Ward is that guy, and that's a slippery slope as well. His ability, his pocket movement to make plays out of nothing. But the flip side of that, and we saw this last year for 3.5 months. Caleb Williams, it took a while to get that out of his system. He did it at USC because the offensive line stunk and he was sort of the only show in town offensively. And it took him a while to figure out you can't do that in the NFL because you'll just take a beating. So I want to see what that transition is like for Cam, wherever he ends up, and how quickly he can go from being hero ball guy, which is fun to watch until you get popped in the mouth, to being the guy that can play on time. And you talked about his ability to get through those progressions more efficiently.
Yeah, it wasn't one of the things on this list. We didn't do like creativity, but that is probably, if there's one guy and there's one trait in this draft class that I'd point to and be like, that's different.
Yep.
That year on year, you don't find that. It's Cam Ward's creativity. The guy has just this sixth sense in terms of being able to evade, being able to keep his eyes downfield, and being able to create outside the pocket.